It's Bible study time. Book of Genesis, chapter 27, chapter 28, Jacob's deception, God's promise. Video 2, including real life, real answers. So, again, we all face different struggles, different issues, and the Bible um, teaches us a lot of what to do in certain situations. Uh, in these two chapters here, if anyone is dealing with questions such as the following: did I ruin everything? Why is my family falling apart? What do I do after I mess up? Am I alone right now? That's probably a very common one where people feel like, maybe they can't catch a break. Is God still with me? Sometimes we feel shame or feel guilty. And a lot of people think that they are too far away from God for God to listen to them and to help them. And last here is, does my life still have purpose? Again, real life, real answers. If any of these fit you at this moment, um, these chapters reference solutions. Let's get into it. Genesis 27:1, King James Version. The verse, and it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. Study notes. Isaac is now old and cannot see well. He calls for Esau, his firstborn son. This sets the stage for an important moment involving the father's blessing. Genesis 27:2. And he said, Behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Isaac recognizes that he is near the end of his life. He wants to take care of important matters before he dies. This prepares for the moment when he plans to give his blessing. All right. Very good. Genesis 27:3. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison. Venison? Isaac asks Esau to go hunting. He wants Esau to prepare a special meal for him. This request is part of preparing to give Esau the father's blessing. Genesis 27:4. And make me a savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. Study notes. Isaac wants a special meal before giving the blessing. The blessing is very important. It carries inheritance and future promise. This moment sets up a key turning point in the story. Genesis 27:5. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. Rebekah overhears Isaac plan to bless Esau. Esau goes out to hunt as his father asked. This sets up what Rebekah will do next, leading to a major turning point. Genesis 27:6. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying. Rebekah tells Jacob what she overheard. She is preparing to act on what Isaac plans to do. This begins a plan that will change the course of the family. Genesis 27:7. Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Rebekah repeats what Isaac told Esau. The blessing is meant to be given before the Lord, showing its seriousness. This confirms the urgency and importance of the moment. Excuse me, Genesis 27:8. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Rebekah tells Jacob to listen carefully to her instructions. She is about to guide him in a plan. This shows the beginning of an intentional action, though it will involve deception. Genesis 27:9. Go now to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loved. Rebekah tells Jacob to bring goats from the flock. She plans to prepare food that tastes like what Isaac loves. This is part of her plan to deceive Isaac and secure the blessing for Jacob. Genesis 27:10. Excuse me. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. Rebekah tells Jacob to bring the food to Isaac. The goal is for Isaac to give the blessing to Jacob instead of Esau. This shows the plan moving forward, even though it involves deception. Genesis 27:11. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Jacob notices a problem with the plan. He knows Esau looks very different from him. This shows Jacob is worried about being discovered. Genesis 27:12. My father, pre-adventure, will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. Jacob fears being caught by Isaac. He is worried about receiving a curse instead of a blessing. This shows the risk of the plan and the consequences of deception. Genesis 27:13. And Rebekah said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. Rebekah tells Jacob not to worry about the curse. She takes responsibility and urges him to obey her. This shows her strong determination to carry out the plan, even with risk. Oh, I'm sorry. Genesis 27:14. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. Jacob follows Rebekah's instructions. Rebekah prepares the food just the way Isaac likes it. The plan is now fully in motion and getting closer to execution. Genesis 27:15. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. Rebekah uses Esau's clothes to make Jacob smell like him. This helps make the deception more convincing. The plan becomes more detailed to trick Isaac. Genesis 27:16. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. Rebekah covers Jacob's skin with goat skin. This is to make him feel like Esau, who was very hairy. The disguise is now complete to deceive Isaac. Genesis 27:17. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of Jacob her son. Rebekah finishes preparing everything needed. Jacob now has the food ready to take to Isaac. The plan is fully set, and Jacob is about to go in. Genesis 27:18. And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou? My son? Jacob approaches Isaac, pretending to be Esau. Isaac cannot see well and begins to question who is speaking. This is the moment where the deception starts to be tested. Genesis 27:19. And Jacob said unto his father Isaac, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my ben, his son, that thy sow may bless me. Jacob directly lies to Isaac, claiming to be Esau. He presents the food as if he obeyed Isaac's instructions. His goal is to receive the father's blessing meant for Esau. Oh. Genesis 27:20. And Isaac said unto Jacob, how is it that thou hast found this so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord thy God brought it to me. Hmm. Isaac becomes suspicious because the food came so quickly. Jacob continues the deception and even uses God's name to support his lie. This shows how wrong actions can go deeper when we try to cover them up. Genesis 27:21. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. Isaac is still unsure and wants to confirm by touch. His blindness makes him rely on other senses. This moment increases the tension. Jacob is about to be tested closely. Genesis 27:22. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Jacob comes close so Isaac can touch him. Isaac notices something is off. The voice sounds like Jacob, but the hairy skin from the disguise convinces him it is Esau. Genesis 27:23. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. Isaac is convinced by the disguise. He does not recognize that it is Jacob. This leads to Jacob receiving the blessing after Esau. Ooh, forgive me. Genesis 27:24. And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. Isaac asked one more time for confirmation. Jacob lies again, saying he is Esau. This shows the deception continuing even when questioned directly. Genesis 27:25. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Isaac prepares to give the blessing after eating. Jacob serves him the meal as part of the plan. Everything is now set for the blessing to be given. Genesis 27:26. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now and kiss me, my son. Isaac asked Jacob to come closer. The kiss is a sign of closeness before giving the blessing. This moment brings the deception to its final stage. Genesis 27:27. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord had blessed. Jacob comes close and kisses Isaac. Isaac smells Esau's clothes, which convinces him fully. Isaac begins to give the blessing, believing it is Esau. Genesis 27:28. Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Isaac begins speaking a blessing of abundance. He asks God to provide rain, crops, and prosperity. This blessing is meant for Esau, but is being given to Jacob through deception. Genesis 27:29. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Isaac continues the blessing with authority and leadership. It speaks of dominance over brothers and influence over nations. This blessing carries both protection and honor from God's perspective. Genesis 27:30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Jacob leaves immediately after receiving the blessing. Esau returns right after, but too late. This shows how the timing is very close, leading to a major turning point in the story. Genesis 27:31. And he also had made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. Esau returns and prepares the meal just as Isaac asked. He expects to receive the blessing. This moment reveals the coming conflict because the blessing has already been given. Genesis 27:32. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. Isaac is confused and asks who is speaking. Esau identifies himself as the firstborn. This is the moment when the truth is about to be revealed. Genesis 27:33. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Where is he that had taken venison and brought it to me, and I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him? Yeah, and he shall be blessed. Hmm. Isaac realizes he has been deceived and is deeply shaken. He understands that Jacob received the blessing. He confirms that the blessing cannot be taken back, it will stand. Genesis 27:34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. Esau reacts with deep sorrow and pain. He realizes he has lost the blessing. He pleads with Isaac, bless him too, showing regret for what happened. Genesis 27:35. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety and had taken away thy blessing. Isaac explains that Jacob deceived him. The blessing has already been given and taken. This confirms the seriousness consequences of Jacob's action. Genesis 27:36. And he said, Is not he greatly named Jacob? For he had supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he had taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not received the blessing for me? Esau expresses anger and frustration towards Jacob. He recalls losing both his birthright and now the blessing. He still hopes that Isaac has something left to give him. And Isaac answered in Genesis 27:37 and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Isaac explains that the main blessing has already been given to Jacob. Jacob has been set in a position of authority and provision. Isaac shows sorrow, realizing realizing there is little left to give Esau. Genesis 27:38. And Esau said unto Isaac, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Esau pleads for any blessing that remains. He is deeply emotional and begins to weep. This shows the pain of lost opportunity and the seriousness of earlier choices. Genesis 27:39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. From above. Isaac begins to give Esau a blessing, though it is different. It still includes provision from the earth and heaven. However, it does not carry the same authority and promise as Jacob's blessing. Genesis 27:40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou had break his yoke from off thy neck. Isaac tells Esau his life will involve struggle and conflict. He will serve his brother, but not. There will come a time when he gains freedom from that control. Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, that then will I slay my brother Jacob. Esau becomes very angry and develops hatred towards Jacob. He plans in his heart to kill Jacob after Isaac dies. This shows how anger and hurt can grow into dangerous thoughts and actions. Genesis 27:42. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Study notes. Rebecca hears about Esau's plan to harm Jacob. She quickly warns Jacob of the danger. This shows the seriousness of Esau's anger and the rising family conflict. Genesis 27:43. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise, plead thou to Laban and my brother to Haran. Rebekah tells Jacob to run away for safety. She sends him to her brother Laban in Haran. This is a plan to protect Jacob and Esau's anger. Genesis 27:44. And tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away. Rebekah tells Jacob to stay away temporarily. She hopes Esau's anger will calm down. This shows a plan for time to heal the conflict. Genesis 27:45. Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him, then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? Rebecca hopes time will cool Esau's anger. She plans to bring Jacob back when it's safe. She fears losing both, one by death and one by exile. Genesis 27:46. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these women are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? Rebecca expresses concern about the local woman. She uses this as a reason to encourage Jacob to leave. This helps set up Jacob's journey away from home, leading into the next chapter. Okay, that concludes Genesis 27. Next is Genesis 28. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him, and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Isaac calls Jacob and gives him another blessing and instruction. He tells Jacob not to marry the Canaanite woman. This shows the importance of continuing the family's spiritual direction and values. Genesis 28:2. Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. Isaac sends Jacob to his family's homeland. He directs him to marry within the family line. This continues the plan to keep in the promise and blessing within the family as a chose. Genesis 28:3. And God Almighty bless thee and make thee fruitful and multiply thee, that thou mayst be a multitude of people. Isaac gives Jacob a powerful blessing. He prays that Jacob will have many descendants. This continues God's promise of building a great people through his family. Genesis 28:4. And give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. Isaac passes down the same blessing given to Abraham to Jacob. This includes the promise of land and descendants. It shows the continuation of God's covenant through generations. Genesis 28:5. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob, and Esau's mother. Isaac sends Jacob away on his journey. Jacob travels to his uncle Laban's home. This marks the beginning of a new chapter in Jacob's life away from home. Genesis 28:6. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Study notes. Esau notices that Jacob was blessed and sent away with instructions. He sees that Isaac does not want Jacob to marry Canaanite woman. This begins to influence Esau's next decisions. Genesis 28:7. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother and was gone to Padan Aram. Jacob obeys both Isaac and Rebekah. He follows their instruction and leaves for Padan Aram. This shows evidence. This shows obedience, even during a difficult time. Genesis 28:8. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac, his father. Esau notices that his father does not approve of a Canaanite woman. He begins to understand his father's concern clearly. This sets up Esau's attempt to respond to his father's expectations. Genesis 28:9. Then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. Esau tries to respond to his father's concern. He marries into the family line of Ishmael, Abraham's other son. This shows Esau's attempt to please his father, but still not fully align with the covenant. Genesis 28:10. And Jacob went out up from Beersheba and went towards Haran. Jacob begins his long journey away from home. He leaves Beersheba and travels toward Haran. This marks a new place in Jacob's life, away from his family and comfort. Genesis 28:11. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and lay down in that place to sleep. Jacob stops traveling because it becomes a nightmare. He rests in an unfamiliar place with very little control. This shows him. Genesis 28:11. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and lay down in that place to sleep. Jacob stops traveling because it becomes nighttime. He rests in an unfamiliar place with very little comfort. This shows him in a vulnerable and humble situation, preparing for what God will reveal next. Genesis 28:12. And he dreamed And behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending it on it. Jacob has a powerful dream from God. He sees the ladder reaching from earth to heaven. Angels are moving up and down, showing that God is actively involved between heaven and earth. Genesis 28:13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. God personally speaks to Jacob in the dream. He confirms he is the same God of Abraham and Isaac. God promises the land to Jacob and his descendants. Sorry. Genesis 28:14. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in thee and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Jacob is promised many descendants like dust in number. His family will grow in every direction. Spread though through him, all families of the earth will be blessed, continuing God's plan. Genesis 28:15. And behold, I am with thee, and I will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. God promises to be with Jacob wherever he goes. He promises protection and guidance on his journey. God assures Jacob that his plan will be fully completed. Genesis 28:16. And Jacob awakened out of his sleep, and he said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. Jacob wakes up from the dream. He realizes that God was truly present with him there. He is surprised, showing he did not expect God to meet him in that place. Genesis 28:17. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Jacob responds with awe and fear. He recognizes the place as holy and set apart from God. Oh, he understands it as a connection point between heaven and earth. Genesis 28:18. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows for a, and set it up for a pillow, and poured oil upon. Jacob wakes up and responds quickly to what God showed him. He takes the security. He takes the stone he slept on and turns it into a memorial pillow. He pours oil on it to mark the place as special and dedicated to God. Genesis 28:19. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called at the first. Luz at the first. Jacob gives the place a new name, Bethel, meaning house of God. The place was originally called Luz. This shows how a personal encounter with God can change the meaning of a place. Genesis 28:20. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me, I will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on. Jacob makes a promise about God. He asks for God's presence, protection, and basic provision. This shows Jacob beginning to respond personally to God's promise. Genesis 28:21. So that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. Jacob asks God for a safe return home. He is looking for peace and protection on his journey. Jacob commits that the Lord will be his God, showing personal faith. Genesis 28:22. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. Jacob dedicates the stone as a place for God. He promises to honor God with what he receives. Jacob commits to giving a tenth back to God as an act of gratitude. Alrighty. First of all, I just want to apologize for losing on for track. It's currently, let me see, I think it's 11:34, and I am definitely snoozing off. I will try to do better to be fully um, able to, of course, get through the Bible study um, at the pace that I should. But again, just real life, real answers. We all face different struggles, different conflicts. We have different problems, different temptations. We all deal with sin in different ways. We all deal with loss, with feeling alone. We all question God about different things. Uh, this slide here is just like the one earlier, except it shows the chapter and the verses to kind of reference to help go through those real life issues. Did I ruin everything? Is chapter 28, verses 13 through 15. Why family conflict? Chapter 27, verse 41. Uh, what after I mess up? I don't know if I did that. What after I mess up? Chapter 27, verses 43 and 44. Am I alone? Chapter 28, 11 through 12 and 15. Is God still with me? Chapter 28, verses 15 and 16. Do I still have purpose? Chapter 28, 13 through 14. Um, yes, and this is the final slide. So again, forgive me for snoozing off. It's definitely because I'm tired. Um, you can always redo the video, but for now, I just want to get it out there. The slides are there for those that maybe like to read. You can definitely put me on mute. And again, if it's really bad, just comment below, um, re-record, and I can definitely do that. But as of right now, Bible study is over until the next chapters. Good night.